What? Thomas and the Magical Railroad, huh? Yeah, f***ing A right, Thomas and the Magical Railroad. I saw this movie when I was 5. And today, thanks to the channel Points Requested username, I watched it again. Thomas and the Magical Railroad was released in the year 2000 and was written and directed by Britt Allcraft, the creator of the original Thomas and Friends television series. It is also the only live-action/animated Thomas and Friends film. On the live-action cast, we had Alec Baldwin, Peter Fonda, Mara Wilson, Michael E. Rogers, Cody McMains, Dee Dee Conn, and Russell Means. The voice cast included Eddie Glenn as Thomas, Neil Crone as a lot of tank engines, and Britt Allcraft as the tank engine lady. And did this film do well? No it did not. It was panned by critics on release with criticism of the acting, plot, special effects, lack of fidelity to the source material, pretty much everything, and on a budget of $19 million, it only made back 19.7, making it a massive box office bomb. And the failure of this film had massive implications on the future of the Thomas franchise. For starters, it was supposed to have a sequel, which was quickly cancelled. But the biggest implication was that Britt Allcraft, who again originally brought Thomas and Friends to television, quit over this. That's right, she resigned as deputy chairwoman, I should say, of her own company and has not been active in the film industry since 23 years ago. So yeah, this film ruined Britt Allcraft's life, but you know, I liked it as a kid, and so did Username apparently, which is why we're gonna go through it right now. Thomas and the Magic Railroad, released in the year 2000. So our film begins on the island of Sodor, where Thomas the Tank Engine and a bunch of his talking tank engine friends work all day. Things are about to heat up though, and not in a good way, as Diesel, an angry and evil, diesel engine, returns to the island after a long vanishing. Parallel to the island of Sodor is the human city of Shining Time, which is connected by Mr. Conductor, who is tiny Alec Baldwin. How are they connected? Well, Mr. Conductor helps both places by traveling back and forth between dimensions using magic gold dust called Shine. Back on Sodor, Diesel's intentions are revealed. He is looking for a missing steam engine that has been missing for a long time, I guess. And apparently by destroying this steam engine, it will destroy all the steam engines. And then he says to Thomas, and I quote, "I'm going to find this steam engine, destroy her, and dominate you." Putting aside that Rule 34 search, we then go back to Shining Time where we meet Patch, a teenage boy who rides horses. Patch also has a dog named Mutt. Actually, I don't think it's his dog. I think it's just like the railway dog. He's like just around. He's everybody's dog, I guess. And Patch also works for Burnett Stone, a depressed old man who used to like trains, but now he doesn't. And the reason he doesn't is because he has his old steam engine called Lady, who he's not able to make run anymore. And the way he talks about Lady, listen, I'm trying to keep this review as PG as possible because this is a kid's film, but he 100% that train. Meanwhile, Mr. Conductor has also come back to Shining Time, but he's noticed that his shine magic is faltering a little bit, and Mutt senses danger, because he's a dog and dogs can sense these things. Meanwhile, a young girl named Lily is on her way to visit her grandfather. If Lily looks familiar, you ever seen the movie Matilda? That's Matilda. For that matter, you ever seen Mrs. Doubtfire? Well, that's Natty. That night in Sodor, while the trains are sleeping, Mr. Conductor is talking to a baseball bat because he's an insane person. He's drinking some cocoa to fall asleep, but he's gonna have some trouble with that as Diesel shows up and destroys part of the shed where the trains are sleeping. Luckily, Mr. Conductor's got sugar, which he threatens to put in Diesel's fuel tanks, and he backs off. Also that night, Mr. Conductor, who we've already established is an insane person, has night terrors about not being able to get back to Shining Time, and maybe the whole place will get destroyed if he's not able to get back because he's the most important character in the universe. Back in the human world, Lily meets Mutt at the train station, and Mutt intentionally guides her onto the wrong train, which will lead her to Shining Time. Meanwhile, her grandfather, who is Burnett Stone, is reading a book called The Romance of Railroads. Again, he f***ed that train. Back on Sodor, Mr. Conductor has officially run out of shine magic, and he's not sure how he's going to be able to get back to Shining Time now. He sprouts an idea though and calls his delinquent cousin Junior, who's relaxing on a beach. Mr. Conductor instructs Junior to go to Shining Time and bring him back his emergency supply of shine dust. Junior does just that, and while he's there, he meets Lily, who has arrived at Shining Time at Mutt's direction. She then gets taken to her depressed grandpa's house, and that night while she's trying to sleep, she hears the whistles of the lady train in the distance. The next morning on Sodor, Thomas is hard at work, but also concerned as he hasn't seen Mr. Conductor in over 24 hours. He then goes to pick up some coal trucks, but one of them becomes detached and rolls backwards and disappears. Meanwhile, things are not good for Mr. Conductor as he is found by Diesel, who scoops him up with his big old claw hand. Diesel's about to yeet him off a bridge, which seems to be breaking, but Mr. Conductor is able to cut one of the wires on his claw hands, which causes Diesel to inadvertently yeet him all the way into a windmill, which, by the way, Mr. Conductor was looking for, because apparently it holds the secret of the gold dust. And the windmill does indeed give him part of the message, but not the full thing. Meanwhile, Lily meets Patch, who looks like he grew up to be my dad, and takes her on a horseback ride over to Shining Time. At Shining Time, Lily meets Junior again, who's just about to head out to Mr. Conductor in the island of Sodor, and Lily's like, "Can I come too?" And he's like, "Sure, why not?" They travel there using the secret magic railroad and see that coal truck that Thomas accidentally let loose. They then meet Thomas, who takes them to the windmill where they reunite with Mr. Conductor. Junior then decides to take a ride on said windmill, but the wind picks up and flings him conveniently, or should I say inconveniently, right on top of Diesel. Meanwhile, Patch has to tell Burnett Stone that he lost his granddaughter, but Burnett doesn't really care because Peter Fonda didn't care about this movie. Back in Sodor, they're scheming ways to get Lily home, and they decide the only way is for Thomas to take her there by going through the magic railroad. They do just that, and Thomas also picks up that coal truck on the way. As Lily races home, Thomas comes loose and accidentally rolls down the hill for a little bit until he conveniently rolls into another secret entrance of the magic railroad somehow. Lily then goes back to Burnett and's like, "Why didn't you tell me about the talking trains?" And then she sees the other train. She's like, "Oh, is this the train you have sex with?" And he's like, "Yes, it is, but I can't get her to work." And Lily's like, "Wait a minute. The coal that Thomas brought is magic coal because it's from the island of Sodor, so why don't we just use this?" Back on Sodor, Diesel has Junior and another train called James trapped, so Junior's forced to use the very last of his shine dust to get them free. And after they use that magic coal, Peter Fonda is finally not depressed slightly, and Lady is chugging along once again. Lady, because she's a magic train, also gets rid of the not-so-magic weeds, revealing a vast, pretty overscape, and hey look, Thomas is there too, I guess that's where he got to. They end up back on the island of Sodor, where everyone meets everybody, but one problem, there's still no shine dust. And another problem as Diesel is here and begins chasing Thomas and Lady, just as Mr. Conductor remembers that Lady is somehow the key to the shine dust. Thomas and Lady go over that bridge that Diesel tried to throw Mr. Conductor off earlier, and it breaks as Diesel goes over, and he falls all the way off onto a coal barge. Everyone's safe now, but still no magic dust, but Mr. Conductor realized the last part of the plan. It was water combined with some magic shards that Lady left behind earlier, cause sure, that makes sense, and then she throws the magic shards into the air, which somehow creates dust, but he just said it was water, but the water didn't have anything to do with it. I don't know, man, whatever. They got shine dust again, and everyone's happy. And then everything's good and happy in both realms, and that's quite literally the end of the movie. I gotta say, this film is really lucky that it has a soft spot with me, because this movie sucks. I'm not gonna be as harsh on it as if I had never seen this before. Whoo, buddy. But because I saw it as a kid and it has a little bit of a soft spot, I'm gonna be a little nicer than I would on some films. But whoo, buddy, this is not a good movie. So let's go for the critic criticisms. Acting, yeah, pretty bad for the most part. Well, it was okay. Alec Baldwin gave it his all. You know, he really did. This film didn't deserve it, but he did. Michael A. Rogers, who was Junior, did well as well. But child actors weren't great, but they're also child actors, so I guess I can give them a pass, even if one of them was Matilda, now that I think about it. Peter Fonda, though, gotta say, he did not care about this film. He was doing this for the money. I have respect for Peter Fonda's influence on film, especially in the 60s and 70s, but man, he did not care about this at all. Plot? Yeah, plot was nonsensical. I get it's a kid's film, but it was just, stop the diesel, get the shine dust. And how they got the shine at the end didn't even make any sense, like, at all, to be honest with you. And I mean, Diesel was presented as just a dork the whole film and not really a legitimate threat. So there wasn't really a legitimate threat of anything the whole film, if I'm being honest. Which, I mean, to be fair, they're trains. But I guess I can give... I guess, now that I think about it more, it's just... I don't know. This is a plot. Special effects? I guess are kind of bad. It's 2000s. So, I mean, yeah, overall this film was bad. It was completely nonsensical in plot and, Peter Fonda completely phoned it in. But it deserved to ruin Britt Allcraft's life? I don't know about that. It enhanced my life as a kid, if it's any consolation. Probably not to her, but I mean, that kind of sucks, that she... I wonder if she resigned on her own volition or if she was forced out from this, I wonder if she was forced out, because I kind of feel, finding it hard to believe that she would just quit over this bombing of, her own company. Something that she had done since the early 80s, I almost feel like maybe she was forced out because of this, which sucks. It sucks either way. But yeah, I mean, this is not Thomas's finest hour, but it brought me joy as a kid, so at least one person enjoyed it, 2 people making username. And thank you again to Username for using your points on this, as it was fun to relive this in some sense. And funny enough, next week we'll be doing a film that I didn't like as much as a kid, but maybe I'll like more now, as we're going to look at Scooby-Doo 2002. Would I recommend this film to you? Probably not, because there's a good chance if you're currently watching this, you are above the age of 6. So, probably not, no, but show it to your kids, maybe, they'll like it. I'm sure the kids will be fine with it, why not? Real young kids, like, 6 or younger, maybe that. This probably should have gone straight to video, if I'm being honest. This really probably should have done straight to video. I think that was maybe their biggest mistake, was making this a theatrical film with, a proper release. If this had just gone straight to video, maybe Britt Allcraft wouldn't have had her life ruined. Who knows? They probably should have just done that. But that is it for my review of Thomas and the Magical Railroad. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they're all in the video description down below, as well as the name for all my patrons. Thank you to my patrons for supporting me and my channels. I appreciate you guys. With all that being said, though, my name is Noah Taft. This has been my look back at Thomas and the Magical Railroad, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.